Well, ladies and gentlemen, so today we are going to be covering our conjunction video, and we are going to be doing, I believe, the last three planetary conjunction of Venus. Venus, Saturn, and Ketu. And what happens when Venus, Saturn, and the south node of the moon, Ketu, are conjunct in your horoscope? That means they're in the same sign in the same house. And if you do not know where this conjunction is in your horoscope, all the other planetary placements, all the other planetary details, for that, check out the links here. Check out the full astrological report, and including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects of the Speed of Light, including all my consultations at this link. So, Venus, Saturn, and Ketu. This is quite a similar conjunction to Venus, Saturn, and Rahu. But here, instead of expansion, there's extraction. Am I saying this correctly? Yes. Because what happens with this Venus, and I'm going to pretend that this is a very close conjunction, because let's say if your Venus is at 2 degrees, Saturn is at 18 degrees, Ketu just entered at 29 degrees into the same sign because Ketu goes backwards. Then the qualities of this conjunction will be there, but not as strong. But I'm pretending like they're like 3, 4, 5 degrees apart. That's where you really get the whole meat of this conjunction. So Venus is what? Love, romance, love affairs, arts, media, creativity, spouse, wife, women. It's the seed of life. Venus is a seed of life. People think it's Jupiter, the Jiva. No. Venus represents semen. Venus represents egg. And that is the beginning of life, the creation of life. This is why Venus represents the sexual experiences as well, because you have to have that chemical attraction. So that's Venus. Then comes Saturn. Saturn is our duty, commitment, our discipline, organization, structure. Saturn represents fear and anxiety. Saturn represents our limits. How far can we go? How much can we have? That's Saturn. And then comes Ketu. Ketu is about looking within. Ketu is about going into isolation. Ketu is about understanding things from an isolated perspective, from a non-materialistic perspective. Ketu represents so many more things. But this is what you need to know in order for you to understand this conjunction. That's that limited information. And what happens with this person early on? First of all, they have a lot of fear and anxiety towards being in a committed relationship, towards wanting to just go into a relationship with anybody. They have this boundary around them. Like, you have to have a certain criteria for my gates to open so you can come in and be in a relationship with me. But what also happens is once they get into a relationship, they also feel lackluster early in life in a relationship. Meaning these people have a hard time being funny, sarcastic in a relationship. They don't know how to be silly in a relationship. You know how when you get into a romantic relationship, you do stupid, silly things. You go on beach, hopping on one leg, eating ice cream. Just, you know, those fun, silly times that we have all have had, the romantic times. That's what Venus is, the playfulness in a relationship. Or the sensualness in a relationship. For these people, they're like, why do I need to do this in order for me to be in a romantic relationship? Why do you want me to, jump from that cliff together in the water? Or why do you want me to hop on one leg with you on the beach? Because it's silly fun. Venus has a hard time understanding that, because Venus is like restricted to understand the qualities of Venus because of its being with Saturn. Venus feels like that it just needs to be in a very mature, committed, organized relationship. Kind of like somebody whose parents may introduce them to a good solid person in an arranged marriage situation. They're like, okay, this is my responsibility. See, they need to feel responsible in a relationship due to this Saturn. They're like, for me, relationships are responsibility. And early on in life, I'm not ready for that responsibility because I have Saturn with me, with my Venus. I feel fearful of taking on such responsibility, even though it may not be. And it's not. Romantic relationship or just having a 1 or 2 year relationship with someone is not a responsibility. Just get to know each other, you have fun, and you break up. Okay, fine. But for them, they feel like the world is upon them. And then Ketu comes into play. Ketu, what does, whenever they're in a relationship, especially before like the age of 32, 34, they feel like that their relationship are not giving them the satisfaction that they thought it would. They get into a relationship, but then they're just not satisfied with it mentally, sexually, personally. They're just like, they feel very awkward in certain relationship encounters. And especially this makes them retract back. Like one day they'll have great fun with you, but suddenly when they go home, they feel this fear. Like, what did I just get myself into? Oh, no. This is not the relationship that I need. This is not something I need. This is going to end up in such responsibilities. And I'm not feeling this with this person now. And so it kind of becomes quite an eccentric behavior of Venus for this person. And especially in certain signs that Venus can come across people that will take great severe advantage of this person. And from that point onwards, they have this fear that everybody else is going to be taking advantage of me. Like, for example, you're 16 years old, 18 years old. Let's say you're a girl. This good-looking guy in your class comes up to you and say, hey, let's go to movies, this and that. You're like, wow, he asked me out. Let me go. So the adolescent's immature Venus is like, okay, let me go. Let's go. When you go, have a good time and all that. But then when he's driving you home, he stops and tries to take advantage of you. Tries to force himself upon you. You're like, whoa, I didn't see this coming. And this is the lesson that Saturn and Ketu can bring upon Venus. They're like, be careful, be restricted, don't be so stupid and immature about just going with anybody. So from that point on, what happens is they're very reserved. They're like, who are you? Oh, okay, so you're good looking. Okay, fine. What? And they may drag a relationship for a long time before they say, okay, I'll go out with you, because they build certain fears because of their life experiences. But mainly this conjunction comes alive whenever they devote themselves into a spiritual life, whenever they devote themselves to a higher purpose, whenever they devote themselves to a cause, like a nonprofit organization, going into social welfare, social reform, fighting for women's rights, that's where the Venus comes alive, because Venus here feels like I have a responsibility to fulfill in this life related to my qualities, whether it's love, relationship, things related to women, or even arts or media. They may become very strictly focused upon their art, and their heart will have this social message upon it or spiritual message upon it, and nothing else matters. But see, once you reach a certain age, these two malefic planets, Saturn and Ketu, calm down. They're like, okay, I think you've learned your lesson enough. I think we're going to take a back seat now. And so what happens is later on in their life, they're able to understand themselves. Okay, I am ready for love. I'm ready for romance. And yes, I'm going to have my boundaries, but I'm not going to be that strict. I know exactly what to expect in a relationship. So they become more loose. They're like, okay, I'll have fun. Are you the one? No. Okay, that's fine. I'll have more fun. So they become a bit more, spunky as they get older. But during that young stage, they're going to be very, very restricted due to the awkward circumstances Saturn and Ketu will bring them. Okay? So guys, this was my analysis of Venus Saturn Ketu conjunction. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. Again, if you want to know where your conjunctions are placed, all your other planetary placements, my books, reports, consultation, for that check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll bye bye.